Okay, this is how we do disco floor lights in EZPZ Toolkit. So essentially what this is it's just changing the emissive material on a material, I guess the emissive component of a material, depending on where you land. So this is currently loaded in the EZPZ Toolkit in scene 10 disco floor. And the idea here is when you walk to certain places on the floor, these boxes change color, and they're manipulating the emissive component of the material, so that's why it looks like it's kind of shining bright. If you don't know what that is, basically the emissive component of the material is what's supposed to be showing up as light. So if we have a look at the inspector for one of these objects over here, we have what's this depth color stuff? Oh, that's just a rig. Okay, anyway, let's have a look at the emissive material. So you can see that this object, it has this disco emissive material, and one of the many components of a material is this emission component. So what we can do is we can kind of just change that color there, and then it'll seem like that color light is coming out of that particular material. So the reason why all three cubes are changing at the same time is because what we're actually doing here is we're changing the settings of the entire material by editing this. So you can see that if we look at the other disco lights, they're using the same material. So if we change that material, and these other objects are also using the same material, obviously all of them will change because we're changing the source material. So like let's see how that's done in another way. So I think maybe disco floor. No, that's not it. I need to go find where this disco emissive thing. So what we can do is we can say search for disco emissive. Oh, there we go. That's the disco emissive material. So material is just basically a file inside Unity .mat file, and then it has all these settings. So what we can do there now is we edit the material directly. So you can see that we were editing the object, and then the inspector component of that particular object for the material, but now we're actually editing the material directly, and you can see the same thing happen. So we just change the emissive color, we'll change that to red, and then they all change to red. Okay, let's just reset that back to its actually I forgot what color it was now, but let's make it vaguely yellowish. So what's actually happening is there is this component called emissive material modifier, and where all we're doing is just basically we're resetting the color to these preset colors that we have in here. So what's happening is every time we step on these step colors, so essentially these step colors are just interactable triggers, and what it's doing is it's talking to the disco light object and then talking to the emissive modifier material component, and then saying, okay, set the color into one of these alternatives. So in this case, let's have a look at this step color 2. What this means is this disco light step color 2, and then you have this command set, I'm just going to go this, set alternative color, and then you have this parameter 2. So what that's doing is it's basically sending this function with this parameter, and what's happening is this element number 2 is the thing that's being chosen. So let's just go ahead and run that. So basically when we step on the first step, which is this one here, what's going to happen is this disco ball, or it's not really a disco ball, this disco box is going to turn blue. And the reason for that is because the disco light has this element number 2, and we're saying set alternate color element 2, like when we enter the this trigger. So you can kind of see the effect of it when we change this alternate color to something else. Let's make it green. So currently we haven't, it's still blue because we haven't reset that. Oh wait, no, that's green is already green. Let's choose something else. Okay, maybe, yeah, that's is that magenta or cyan or something? I'll have to look up my colors. I think it might be magenta. Anyway, so if we were to step onto this step again, you can see that element number 2 in this alternative colors list is that color, and it's going to be all pinky. Does that kind of make sense? So then pretty much the same thing with these. If you wanted to change this particular color, so the way this is set up is this one here, this step over here. It's set up the same way as the first step that we were talking about, that turned it magenta, but now the set alternative color command, the parameter is 1. So basically what that's doing is it's going back to this object here, talking to the emissive material modifier and saying set alternative color element 1. Yeah, so that's going to be green. Disco lights. If we were to change that to something else, like like that color, orange, it's gonna turn orange, because that's what the color value that's been stored in that element there. And then pretty much the same thing again for this other step. So if we have a look at this step, color 0, same thing, you can see set alternative color, but this time it's 0. So now it's going to be talking to this object here, but you can see that our element 0 here is cyan. No, teal. Teal? Oh, anyway, that color, that blue, just did. Yeah, so that's basically how it works. If you want to make something from scratch, then essentially you can just do this. Say create a cube, and then we need to create a new material that we want to modify. So we don't really want to edit these things because like they're being used by other things. So let's just go ahead and make a new material. So just say create material, and then I don't know, let's call it emissive experiment. Did I spell that right? Anyway, I'll just go drag it to that guy. So now this one is using the emissive experiment material. So this base map, this is what you call the albedo color. Let's just keep that white. So the base color is basically what the base color is, but it doesn't have any emission. There's no light coming out of it. So the interesting bit is really this guy. And then like, let's change that to something like that. And then let's call this third light, just so we can differentiate it. And then next thing we do is we need to add this component, the emissive material modifier. So we'll just go ahead and go to the third light object and then say add component. Let's call this emissive, I can't spell, emissive material modifier. So you can see, so don't worry about this current emission color, because like it's good. Its value is basically set to 0, so that corresponds to black. But that's going to change as soon as you press play. So what we want to do is we want to populate this with alternative colors, and it's going to be very boring. Let's make the first color green. You'll notice that the first color is its index is element. It's actually 0, element 0. So this is what you would say. This is how arrays work in computer science, or indices work. So 0 is the first one. Unlike in what you would normally think about in normal life, where 1 is the first one. So the other thing I was doing there, just subtly without thinking about it, was turning the alpha from transparent to fully opaque, just so we were able to actually see things. And then let's make this one, so yeah, this is what I was talking about before as well, like the color black is encoded by 0, 0, 0 values everywhere. So let's make this one red. So just do it and yeah. So yeah, now we can pretty much do the same thing as what we did with these other disco lights. So we just need some kind of an event to trigger the changing of the colors. So let's mix it up a little bit. Let's not use a trigger area. Let's use a button. So let's just go ahead and have the button over here. Let's make it face us, because it's easier, or it's nicer if the button is facing us. And let's change the text on this guy to I don't know, let's say red. And then what we can do is we can just go ahead, and I don't remember what the colors were now, so let's just go back to the thing. Okay, red is element 1. So now what we can do is we can just go ahead and go to the button and say emissive interaction material, set alternative color, index 1, because that was the red one, right? Sorry, that's the wrong button. So see, red element 1. So then when we press this button, it's going to call that command. It's going to turn it red. Yay! And it's not just red, it's red emission. So it's a red light basically. Okay, so then what we can do is, if we wanted to do the green one, we can just duplicate this button. It's pretty much the same button except for a few parameters that I changed. So let's just change this text to green. And then with interaction box, if we just go back to the third light again, we can see that the element 0 is the green color. That's what we said it would be. So let's just say set alternative color to element 0 for this command. And then when you say green, red, green, red, green, red. Yeah, that's basically how it works. That's how disco lights work in EZPZ Toolkit. Thank you.